What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. This is our reaction show where we break down everything that we literally just saw 8 minutes ago as the Hounds lost 1-0 to the Birmingham Legion. I am Mike Sparks. So joining me is Steve Mattias, Josh Brokaw, Justin Ashcraft. Yeah, not the way I was hoping to spend this evening, but here we are. Not that I don't enjoy talking to you guys. That's not what I meant. But like, I was literally walking up the steps to get here, like, because just it felt like one of those games. But first, Justin, how have you been, my friend?
I've been really, really good. I'm enjoying this weather and being able to be outside and all of that kind of stuff. So I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I know we took last week off because it was Easter, so it's been a minute, and there have been a few games we haven't talked about. We're not really going to dwell on those too much, just because this game literally just happened.
We could instead.
Well, this is true. We could instead. We'll talk about what's happening this week and into the weekend, and we have that to kind of look forward to and talk about. I know we have to talk about this game, but Josh, how have you been?
Good. Yeah, it's been a fun weekend. Just kind of chilling around Bellevue and going to a bunch of different shops and just enjoying our small little town feel.
That's a nice banner that you added to the background behind you there.
Oh, yeah.
You just see kind of the bottom of it, but that's the one you guys got from the home opener?
Yeah, that's the home opener banner right there.
Very nice, very nice.
It's I don't know if they showed it on the stream at all, but they have a banner now underneath the scoreboard. It's kind of like a banner that you can see on camera. Then they have one that's hanging up where they have these other banners at for like all the achievements. So
very nice, very nice. Steve, you good?
I'm fine. Yeah, had some friends over for board games on Friday night and was up way too late, but got to play some good board games. Take it easy yesterday and kind of enjoy the weather yesterday and today. So
good.
Yeah,
good. I guess we will briefly talk about the fact we got a 1-1 draw in Indy. We won in the Open Cup to make it to the next round, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. We all apparently got the in mourning memo because we're all wearing black because of this past game. We have no hey sir and no Mondo's moment just because there was literally no time to put it together. If Laura Ellen was going to be here, I would have just been like, and now, but we won't do that. So yeah, the comments are open for those of you that are joining us live. Do feel free to share your thoughts on what happened in this game. We might talk about it. We might put it up on screen. Guys, let's dive into it. So as I mentioned, we did lose 1-0 to Birmingham. There was a scare there at the end where it could have been 2-0, where the ref called them offsides. They were clearly not offsides, but that's neither here nor there. We can talk about the ref as a potential talking point. Let's start with the lineup. I think this was a midfield. Steve, you mentioned during the game, this was the midfield that I think a lot of people were waiting to see. We had Nico in goal. We had Kelp, McCoy, and Souza across the back, which is a combination that we've seen a lot recently. But then in midfield, we kind of had Barnes was out wide. You could consider him part of the midfield, but really the big thing was we had Griffin, Walty, Mertz, and Bassett all kind of intermingling in that midfield, and then Dequa up top. When we actually lined up in the formation, it was more of a 3-4-3 where you had Mertz and Bassett up top with Dequa, but there was, like I said, a lot of interchange, a lot of flow. There's a lot of talent in that starting 11. So, Steve, why were you anxious to kind of see this group together at the same time?
I mean, I think it's just the individual talent that we've seen from each of these guys. I mean, the guys that we've seen in the past, like Mertz, wanting to see him come back, right, and get a real full game under his belt, see what he can do, and see what he could do with the talent that we've seen from Sam Bassett and Elliot Goldthorpe a little bit, but also see a full game from Elliot as well, I think was kind of what I was hoping to see and see it go well, but also loving Walty being in the lineup, which frees Danny Griffin up quite a bit. So,
Justin, that's something that we had talked about a lot, where when we were trying to figure out who fits where, you were saying you thought that Walty had a really good spot here because he could really be the one to kind of post up right in front of the defense and let those other guys roam. Mm-hmm. What did you think about him today?
I thought he had a pretty quiet game. I mean, it was not a bad game. I wouldn't say it was bad, but pretty quiet game. Didn't think he was as good as some of the sub performances we've seen on this season. So would have liked a little bit more, but I thought we set up okay tonight, but just didn't execute when we needed to.
Josh, how are you feeling about this one? Give me a takeaway.
It was just a block game that it didn't feel like the Hounds were on it at all. I don't know if it was the lineup changes. I don't know, whatever it is. This is the start of kind of like a pretty hefty amount of games in a short amount of time. But it just felt like they weren't clicking. I thought Goldthorpe, he did a lot, like not all good, but he was doing a lot in that first half. I thought that was nice to see someone, putting in a lot of hustle at least. And he had that fantastic, shot that just went right off the back post that was so close to going in. And that would have changed, I think, everything as far as how we feel about this game. Because it's not like either team had that much teeth. You know what I mean? Like it was very much there wasn't a moment where I was like, wow, Legion's doing really good. It's like, no, neither team's doing good. This is just kind of blah. This is definitely one of those games where I would not want to show it to a new fan of USL and be like, this is what USL is. Be like, why do you watch this? Like that's what this game felt like. It was just like, why are you guys watching this? And it's sad, and it was an empty stadium, and just wasn't a lot of heart at this game at all. It didn't feel like it, at least.
Isn't Birmingham that stadium where like the majority of the fans sit on the same side as the camera and you look across to a basically closed off section on the other side? Like, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
It's just another one of those that's too big for their fan base. And so it always looks empty. They always play on Sundays. I don't know if we're pretty sure that has something to do with like their rights to the stadium, but I also wonder if it could have something to do with like, they seem to always play early as well. So I don't know if they don't want to pay an electric bill or something like that. They have lights. They can do lights. They never do. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, one of the things that was sort of going through my mind in this one was I know, especially coming in early in the season, we had a lot of high hopes for this team, and I'm not squashing that. I'm not throwing that all away. I think there's still some really good signs, but I am intrigued. I mean, it seems like there are some teams that I don't even want to say show up for, but we definitely are better matched against. And then there's some more established teams that have been here for a minute that we're just having more of a difficult time with. And I don't know. I don't think that necessarily sets us up well for this weekend, which we'll get to. But Justin, how are you feeling? I know we're not officially 10 games into the season. We're not looking at the standings yet. It's not that big of a deal. But how are you feeling about sort of the Rob Vincent era thus far?
Yeah, a couple of things you said there kind of triggered some things that Laura Ellen and I talked about during the game. One was it feels like Goldthorpe is close, but just not there yet. And it's like he does a lot of really good things. They're just not turning into great things yet. And so I think that's one thing that we thought a lot about. And the other thing was I think this team just needs to kind of hang on in the middle of the pack until 3/4 of the way through the season. And then you hope that this team sort of gels together. They figure out the way that Rob wants them to play. It still feels like there's just a lot of tension between what they previously were wanting to do and what they're wanting to do now, plus trying to integrate all these new players and, all of that kind of stuff. So I do think that there's this element of, hey, just hold on and hopefully everyone will kind of come together around the middle of the season. And by 3/4 of the way of the season, we'll be like, all right, we're clicking. And then we just click at the right time again. That's just kind of the way I'm feeling about the season overall right now.
Steve, do you agree?
Yeah, I think mostly. I think for me, the biggest difference is I see the talent and what this group of players has the potential to become. But I really appreciate Justin talking about kind of that change in identity from the past 8 seasons to this year in terms of play style. And I think that's kind of been evident that it's not just that we lost a couple of starting defenders. It's that we're playing a completely different system that, sure, we've still got 3 center backs, but we don't have those 2 guys flanking them that are their primary responsibility is to stay back. They're much further forward and attacking. And so I expected us to be better defensively, but even in a game like this, I don't feel like our past couple games have been bad defensive displays. We've just given up a goal in each of those games. And so it's trying to figure out, okay, how do you get those pieces in the midfield to be a little more creative, be able to use their talent to actually get the goals to start flowing, because I think the talent is there or will be there. I just hope it's not 3/4 of the way through the season. I'd like to see it halfway through the season. I think, because I think that, yeah, it's going to take time. New system, some new players, and some new key players, and also some exciting players. But is how I'm feeling with still, like, I'm not down on the season. I think I said in the off season, right? Like, I don't expect us to be the Supporter Shield winning team this year, right? We were
I want to fact check that, but go ahead. You can go with that sentiment for now.
We were a 4th place team that eked into 4th place in the last game of the season and had a fairy tale run, right? Like it's not like we dominated the league last year and then we're looking at us and be like, oh no, like we're nowhere near as good. I don't think we're actually that far off of where we were last year. And maybe even last year at this time, I think we're looking from what I'm seeing on the field over, like, tonight maybe doesn't count, but I'm more positive than where I was at this point in the season last year, I think. Hard to remember, like, those specific periods of ups and downs last season, but
no, I think that's about right. Josh, if you were to kind of grade, where you think the Hounds are right now, it's like you're a grade school teacher, A, B, C, D, E, where do you put them in your mind based on sort of your expectations and kind of where we are right now?
I think C. I mean, it's like C, maybe even C plus. Like, we have had good games. We have not had great opponents, really. The games where I'm really thinking we looked really good haven't exactly been like stellar teams to begin with, though. And like, this was Birmingham's first win of the season. I know it's early in the season; it's like what, 4th game for them or something like that. But still, like, they haven't won a game, so we were their first win, which kind of sucks. But I do think this team is still finding its way. They're still messing with the lineup, and there's injuries as well, from my understanding. So, like, it's not like this is the preferred lineup that we saw today. So there's a lot of factors there. There always are going to be these factors, though, and it is interesting that, for example, the way that we're attacking right now, one of the things we kind of heard, or like believe with Vincent, we're going to see a much more attacking focused team, and we've had games where we've had lots of goals. But in this one, it felt like Goldthorpe was taking it, shooting it, and no one was getting the ball to Chico. I don't know if his role was supposed to be passing it to Chico or like getting him in the right spot, but it felt like everyone else besides Chico was taking the shots on goal. I think Chico had one where he tried to get a head on it and it like just went wide. But overall, I don't know. He felt kind of like Chico just felt like he was disappearing in this game. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, I kind of stepped back and was kind of asking you guys about a broad view of the season thus far. I guess zooming back into this game, we mentioned some injuries. Beto, Guy, both out on injuries. They have been for the past few games. I think that's giving us a chance a little bit more to see Souza, McCoy, Kelp on that back line. I will say that I thought that of kind of everyone, I know we'll get to our top 3 players. I was pretty impressed with what I saw from Kelp. I think that, he could shape up to be a pretty good player. Does anyone think that any of those guys have done enough to potentially supplant Beto and Guy when they do come back from injury? Like, one of the things we've talked about is kind of the depth at the other positions, especially midfield. We can have a whole conversation of, is there actual depth up top? I know we have players that can play up top, but like legitimate sub on and make a difference depth. It kind of feels to me like we're getting there with the defense. Does anyone disagree with that? Or, Justin, when Beto and Guy come back, are they definitive plug right back in for you?
No, I don't think so. I think you got to earn your spot back, and I think McCoy and Kelp haven't done anything to me otherwise, like where they should be or not be in this lineup. And so I think both of them I felt looked really good. I think we've kind of assumed that Souza was going to be a starter from the beginning of the season, and I don't think he's done anything to, not that. I think what they really do have to figure out is who plays that center back role and who is kind of aligning defense and who's doing all of that. And I think once they figure that out, it'll kind of be off to the races a little bit.
I was really interested that, when Beto and Guy are in, that person in the middle is Souza. But when Beto and Guy are out, the person in the middle is McCoy. They move Souza out wide. I would kind of think like, well, you keep the one, but I guess that maybe that's like a speed thing, Steve. Like I know we've talked about this in the past.
I actually think it's a tactical thing. And I think that I think Justin's right. Like, I don't think that it's an automatic decision, but I think that the quality that Beto Edracht and Guy Vactor have are things that are going to be hard for other people to play over them when they're both healthy. What I do think, and I think I've gotten some insight into this, is that it's a battle for the other spot when those two guys are healthy and at their best. I think right now, Owen McCoy is the front runner only because he's played a bit more. But Lasse Kelp, I think, is showing that he's got quite a bit. And I think that I don't remember if we talked about this on the show, but Kelp's start last week, the reason we haven't seen him is not because he wasn't ready, not because he wasn't impressing. It's that his paperwork wasn't through, so he wasn't eligible to play. And so they played him like he was eligible the day before. And so I think it's kind of like, yeah, those two guys, their Open Cup matches for both of them, my understanding is that was their audition game. And then doing well, it's like, okay, like now you're in competition for these starting spots. And I think what we've seen from those two guys, they're making it hard. And to me, it's a luxury for Rob and Adam to have that many guys that they think are competitive for those three spots. Because yeah, like we know Vactor is going to have a number of games with the condition of his leg that he's just not going to be able to play every game for the rest of the season when he comes back. He's going to get a knock and it's going to bother him again. And so having that depth is really important. And I'm excited to see where that goes because we have a number of guys that I think have the capacity to be really good long-term.
Josh, we've talked a lot about how we had a really rough start to the season in terms of the teams that we were playing and going to the Battery and playing Tampa. And these were teams that we kind of expected to be near the top. And so to face them early on doesn't really set us up too well in terms of getting a good view of who this team is. In the past, we like to think of Birmingham as a bit of a joke. Maybe it's just me. We like to think of Birmingham as a bit of a joke, kind of lumping them in, slightly better than Hartford, maybe on the same level as like a Detroit. In this game, did you see anything from Birmingham that makes you think that maybe they belong above us? Or do you think that this is just a case of not did Birmingham beat us or did we beat ourselves? But kind of how do you read that dynamic between the two teams? Was this just a case of we didn't finish? And, if we play this game 5 times, maybe we win 3 of them and draw 1? Or just how are you feeling about the two teams when you look at them at this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that this team, Birmingham in general, did not show me anything that made me impressed with them. I don't think they're up there at the top of the table at all. I think this is just a situation where both teams were having just meh games. I don't know if that's Birmingham's level because I haven't really watched them this season, but just looking at the results, they haven't won a game yet other than this one. So like, I feel like if this game played out, 4 times, we would probably be evenly matched if we both played the same way. Like, I feel like their goal was a good goal, but it wasn't like they had a lot of opportunities and they put away their opportunities. It's just they had a good goal, and then I feel like if, like I just talked about earlier, Goldthorpe's goal would have gone in, like that would have completely changed the makeup of the game. And that could have happened before their goal. So like, it's really just dependent on the luck of the draw for this one. But in general, I think we're better than this, and it's just kind of unfortunate that we weren't today. And I do think our defense needs a lot of work. I mean, I know there's a lot of options right now, but I don't think any of the options I've seen have been all that compelling. And it's just they need to gel more. I'm hoping that's all it is. But right now, every time we're defending, it just looks like Bumblebee soccer in the box, where it's just like a whole bunch of our defender, or not even just defenders, but midfield and everyone's in the box and trying to get it away from whoever's has the ball, and then they just punt it across the field and hope that's it. It's like, okay, I guess that works. Like, I want to see us controlling the ball more in the box in our own defense, and able to play it out of the back a little bit better, just going from defending to offense.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed was that I think because of the experience that we have in the midfield, there is a lot of confidence to be able to bring the ball down and want to kind of play with the ball and navigate tough spots where you might be under pressure by keeping the ball on the ground. But you're right in the sense that whether it's experience or whether it is something else, it seems that the defense maybe panics slightly earlier and wants to clear it. And that's fair. I think that will probably come as the team gels some more. It is frustrating, like especially towards the end where, you have a chance and you have guys just like booting it over their heads. And it's like, well, that's not giving us another chance.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just knocking it back to their defense and letting them start over. And then we just have to chase. So I do think that some of that will come. I just wonder if there is, we've talked about this. There is a bit of a change of philosophy where as much as Rob wants to say, no, we're really going to focus on the defense. It's clear that there has been more focus on the midfield and the offense in terms of what we want to try to do this season than last season, where it's very much defense, then midfield and offense. And so there's just going to be some give and take there. And so it's just something that they're going to have to figure out. Guys, any other takeaways from this one that we want to spend more time talking about? Steve?
Not really. I just more back to talking about the defense a little. So we talked about all those guys. The one guy we didn't talk about is Alal Osamanu. But the reality is, as we look at this roster going forward, Osamanu, Edracht, and Vactor are all on longer term deals at this stage. And the other guys we have options for, right? So the thing that is exciting to me is I think we see quality and talent with all of these guys, and it's not necessarily working the way we want it to, but I have a lot of hope that we could potentially see this entire same group back and clicking and competing for those spots all next season as well. And that's kind of something that I think is encouraging, that it's like, hopefully that takes the pressure off of them to like, think like, okay, yeah, I still have to earn my contract, but it's not like I have to earn a new contract, right? Like I have to earn my option. And so that's kind of encouraging to look at and see that there's a lot of long-term longevity to this defense if we want there to be.
Yeah. My only other takeaway was, and this is kind of I guess he's aging gracefully, but I was shocked to see Jay Heaps on the sideline because I made the comment, it looked like they put him in a time machine and like pushed him forward 30 years. I don't remember him looking like that. And maybe I just haven't been paying attention. Good for him for the win. He was, pretty nasty towards the ref there at the end, which you could clearly read what he was saying to him, and the ref just kind of ran away. I was yelling card him while it was happening, but what can you do?
How often do you get a card? You know what I mean? Like, you card him. That'd be fun.
Card him. Yeah.
Speaking of aging, like Pasher being on the team surprised me. I'm like, he's still playing? Okay, I guess.
Listen, they made a point of Pasher and Rob Vincent played together in Pittsburgh.
Right?
They're on the same squad. So yeah.
And then who was the other four? They had like Williams or Williamson?
Mario Williams.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw him and I was like, they somehow found someone to make Pasher look younger. This guy looked older than Pasher. And I was like, oh, wow. So I'm looking up ages and I'm like, we're getting beaten by like a, over 30 rec league here.
Listen, My kids don't know the Tyler Pasher drinking game, and even during
Really?
this game, yeah. Well, I made the joke that we should all be blackout drunk on this, but my middle son was like, "Man, that guy's really saying Pasher's name a lot," and I was like, "Yep, you're not wrong."
The league loves him for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know the game, for the past few years, anytime Tyler Pasher is anywhere near the conversation, the announcers say his name ad nauseum. So we turned it into an unofficial drinking game. So feel free to play at home. Just don't come on the show afterwards because it'll just be a mess.
But Mike, you've said it, I think 7 times. So your turn to drink.
Thanks for the score.
He's been drinking the whole time. I don't know. I've noticed it.
Justin, any final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, probably before we move off it, I think I think it's interesting because in a game like this, it's easy to sit here and trust me, I watched a lot of bad soccer this season, but I think it is interesting because you sit here and you complain about we lost 1-0 to Burn. Okay, but we didn't score either. So the defense is not going to look bad if we put 3 on the board and we didn't. And so I think it's easy to think about if Goldthorpe's shot had gone in, that would have changed, and it probably would have if it had gone in, because I think that was right before halftime or right coming out of halftime, which are monumental times to score. So that would have helped, but it was kind of outside of that, there was nothing. And so I look at it and go, I think there's I don't think the defense is our biggest problem, because most teams in the league, you can get away with giving up a goal, because you can score, you can always score a couple too. There's not that many clean sheets in the USL, and so I think it's unfortunate that we just didn't put anything else. And I think for me, the challenge with that is I think there's 2 challenges. One, I think we're a little timid on the offensive side of the ball. And so there's too many times where we're passing back to the defense or passing back to the defensive midfielders, not taking the brave pass and taking the risk and all that kind of stuff. And then there's times where the execution is just not there. And it's just so frustrating to watch because time and time again, there was a time when Danny the ball kind of top of the box, he's looking into the box and Elliott starts making a run, and Danny, I think, had the angle, just put it to his feet, and he passed it 5 yards in front of him, and that ended up right at the keeper's feet. And so I think there's moments like that. It's you've got to figure out the right pass to play at the right time. Mm-hmm. And for somebody like Danny, you would expect a little bit better. And so I don't want to rail on the team and be like, oh, you guys are terrible. But it is a little frustrating when you only lose 1-0 because all you need is a goal and you get a point out of the game. So I think that was probably my more frustrating thing, was not the way the defense looked tonight, it was the way the offense looked.
Yeah. At around the 60th minute mark or something, I was like, man, we just can't pass tonight. And so then I looked at some of the stats up to that point. It's we've got an 85% accurate passing rate. That's actually pretty good. And so I was watching the rest of the game and thinking back to everything. And I'm like, oh no, it's not that we can't pass tonight. It's just that we can't pass accurately when it matters. Right? That was the sense that I got. So I'm glad that I wasn't alone in recognizing some of those moments.
Can't pass forward. We can pass backwards a lot.
Yes.
And we did. Or side to side. We just could not pass forward.
There was that interchange. Where the defenders are all in the center circle and they're just ping, 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 ping. I'm move the ball forward.
I'm just hearing Bob from seasons past just yelling forward from the sideline during a preseason.
Yeah. The other thing that I think I saw tonight too that I thought was kind of frustrating is there's so many times in seasons past where we went, how many corners are we going to get until we get a goal? And I'm sort of that same thing against this season. There's so many of those corners where first defender is knocking it 30 yards down the field. It's okay, Robbie, you got to either figure out how to get past the first defender or not pass it all the way through the box where nobody gets ahead on it.
I mean, to sort of even take that a step further, I felt that we had a number of decent opportunities from set pieces where they're 25 yards out. And it seems to me, and this is not a criticism of the Hounds, I think this is just a criticism of soccer in general. It seems like most teams' options are either shoot or chip it and try to get somebody to get ahead on it. And I'm like, everybody's just standing still. Like, I'd love to see more creativity in some of those set pieces where you just mix it up a little bit, catch people off guard, like pull something out every now and then. But it just feels like that's I don't say it's a wasted opportunity, but we had chances. To Justin, your point, there were chances. We just didn't capitalize on them. So, all right, guys, let's do our top 3 players in this one. Josh, I'll let you pick first. I feel like you always end up going in the middle.
Yeah, that's a great one to go first. For.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm actually gonna, just because he was doing things, I'm gonna say Goldthorpe is in there in the mix somewhere, because he was actually had the shot that just barely missed, and he was getting crosses in and doing more on the field than I felt like. He at least had the passion going forward and everything like that.
Justin?
I'll take the winger on the other side of the field. Give me Barnes. I think same thing. I felt like he was doing a lot in the first half to get up and down the line, try to find crosses, all that kind of stuff. And there was a couple of crosses he put in that were really, really nice that never went anybody there.
Yeah.
Steve?
Danny Griffin. He was filling in the gaps for other people when they were out of position. He was doing everything he could to get on the ball. I think like it wasn't a perfect game, but he was doing the things that I want to see a leader on the field do, and that's trying to find the game and make something happen. But I also think he had to flex his position a little bit and drop back when Walty came out, and just one of those guys that I think like he was the one player that I didn't think at any point in the game, like, what the heck are you doing? There were a couple moments like, come on, Danny, you're better than that. But there was no point where I was just like, what is going on? And every other player, I feel like there was a moment where I was just like, what the heck is that? And could have gotten angry at them. And he was the only one that was just like, it wasn't his best game, but it wasn't glaringly terrible.
He had that one pass though, man. Like that one right in the middle where he kind of just like pushed it forward and they just took it. It's like, who are you passing to? Like he literally passed it to the offense. And I don't know. But other than
late
that,
in the game, yeah.
There was one moment for me too where he tried to step on the ball and he totally missed it, and it ended up 3 yards away from him. And I was like, Danny, I can't believe you did that. And then like literally 2 minutes later, Robbie did the exact same thing. I was like, guys, are we kidding me right now? Out of all the players on the field, you two do that?
Yeah. I noticed the exact same thing. I was like, wait, okay. And then okay. All right. So based on that, I propose that we basically go in the order that you guys.
Do you have anybody else, Mike, that you think should be in there?
I said I like Kelp, but like I in a game like this, like I think that I liked Kelp more from I saw more of what he can become, and that I think excites me rather than the direct contributions in this game to the level of at least what we're talking about here. So I'm fine.
I do want to shout out Larson as well. He was not in the game very long, but as soon as Larson came in, it felt like things were happening and he was actually like making a difference, but nothing came of it. But it did feel like Larson was actually doing a lot of cool stuff.
I thought it was interesting playing Larson off like one of the wings almost. Like they didn't have him up front in the middle. It was more kind of picking up the stuff on the side. So, all right. Well, I guess based on the names that you gave me, guys, I think I would rank them in really the order you delivered them. I'd probably say Goldthorpe first, Barnes second, Griffin third. Is there any argument with that? No. Okay, I'm just putting that in my notes.
Steve's like, I could argue, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, Steve's not going to argue. That's fine.
It's close between Barnes and Goldthorpe. I don't have a compelling argument.
All right, so let us know what you think. See if you agree with that. One thing I did notice, and we would have to kind of have a little bit more engagement. Again, thank you everybody who's been leaving comments live. There is a new feature in this streaming tool that we use where we can put polls up, and like people who are here live can like vote. So, maybe in the future we can kind of plug that earlier. And if people want to come on and vote for their top 3, I will tell you, well, we've had some conversations internally and we have decided what we will give the player of the year moving forward, and have procured the award for Mr. Mertz. And so the hope is that at the May 2nd game that I think most of us will be at, I will have it there to present to him, which will be fun. But yeah, so if you disagree with our votes, do let us know either in the comments live, or you can come in and leave a comment afterwards on YouTube. I believe you can also leave comments on Spotify, Apple, all of that. Let us know. We do read those. And maybe they will factor into our decisions moving forward. It's kind of like refs, right? Like, we may not change our mind right now, but the next time we think about it, we might be like, oh, we did catch a lot of heat for Goldthorpe. Are we seeing it wrong? And so you could be playing us like refs. So,
the inverse of the Biasi conversation.
That's right. Listen, the players influence us too. So this prize is clearly very prestigious, and you need to have your voice heard to make sure that it goes to the right person.
Can I call out one other thing about this game before I forget? Because I want to make sure we did it on the podcast. Why didn't we bring Capizano up for that last corner? Or like for the last couple shots? Like, it seemed like there was no reason not to. It's like the 94th minute out of 94 minutes, we're losing. Why not bring him forward? Like, I didn't understand that.
That's a conversation I'd like to have with like Robert Bushy. I know that some managers are very adamant in how they feel about that, and they could be like, regardless, we're not doing it. So maybe it's the case that he wanted to, but one of them were like, no, or maybe nobody had talked about it, and so it was just like, well, I guess I stay here. But it is a valid point, because you see it go both ways.
Even the announcers were kind of baffled. They're like, and everyone's forward except for the keeper. I'm like, yeah, why isn't the keeper forward? Get in there.
Well, gents, we don't, as I mentioned, we don't have Mondo's moment because, like I said, I did not have time to edit that together or put it into the StreamYard. And I just lost my notes. Let me pull my notes back up. Apologies. I clicked something incorrectly. This is what happens when we do it live.
We got an Open Cup game on Wednesday.
We do. Hey guys, we have a game on Wednesday. That's literally what I was going to talk about. I just want to make sure that I have everything right. So the Hounds play Wednesday. As I mentioned, we did get the win in the Open Cup, and therefore we do move on to the next round. This is where we now start to see the MLS teams make their way into the competition. Wednesday, we travel at 7:30 p.m. to play the New York Red Bulls. I believe this is the first time we will actually play the New York Red Bulls, not the Baby Bulls. We do have a history playing the Baby Bulls at Red Bull Arena. Justin, I know that you are tapped into what's going on in the MLS. What are your thoughts on the Hounds traveling to New Jersey to take on the Red Bulls?
There is a chance. I think Red Bulls are in an interesting spot too. Lots of changes over the past couple of years. I think there's always a chance that the Hounds could pull off an upset like they do. And so I'm excited to see the game. I think these are just fun to watch because it's all the pressure's off. I think about, what was that, a couple of weeks ago when Port Vale played Chelsea in the FA Cup semis or whatever that was. And it's like, you don't have there's no pressure on Port Vale at that point. Just go and play. And so I think that's the way the Hounds need to approach it. Just go and play, go have fun and see what you can do.
Steve, if you were a betting man, do you think we make it through this round?
Man, that's the one thing that I just don't have a strong opinion on this game. And part of it's like, I think the Red Bulls should win this game. But I also think them needing to make up points on the weekend in their league is important. And they're facing Montreal, who the last time they played them, was below them in the table, but the last time they played them, beat them 3-0. And so I kind of feel like it's like, do they prioritize the not losing to Montreal again and not take this game seriously? That gives us a much better chance. Or do they say, hey, like, we want to attack on all fronts in all competitions and go for it all out. And then it's the kind of game where it's like, I mean, these are not the Union of last season where I feel like a 4-1 game is likely, but I don't know. No, I'm not putting us through in this one just because I get the sense that needing to figure things out for the league is much more important to the Hounds, and you put guys out there to give them time, not to try to win this game and go on when you really need to figure things out as an organization elsewhere.
I mean, that brings up a really valid point, right? We've talked about this in the past where how as an organization do you prioritize some of these games? Obviously, if you are the last standing USL championship team, there is some prize money that is involved with it. But we've also talked about having these extra games provides an opportunity to see some players who, may not have gotten minutes otherwise. Josh, considering where we are, considering that in 2 of the last 3 seasons, the Hounds were kind of like the longest running championship team in this competition, how do you think personally we approach this? Do you think that we go out with kind of our best lineup in the hopes of trying to beat the Red Bulls and move forward? Or do you think that this is a case where maybe we see a Morgan Agostini get some minutes, or some other guys who normally don't get minutes, because we do have an eye towards Detroit that we're going to be facing next weekend?
I think you do both. I don't think a Wednesday game and then going into a Saturday game is overly taxing and unheard of, and like the guys are going to be falling apart if we play our starters. I also think this is a game where, yes, it is, like we have a lot to work on for the league, and we're still figuring it out. But these type of games, especially for the underdog, is where the players really shine, because it's more about the heart. It's more about, going out there trying to prove yourself against top talents and just wanting to make a statement. And so I think the players show up for these games. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of fight here. And I feel like we shouldn't be upset if we see a starting lineup at this game. But at the same time, it's a free, a freebie to me. I would love us to go on after this just because I want to see the Hounds, get that prize money. So just surviving this round could mean the difference. We don't know where all the other games are going to fall. And also, I always want to have a home game against an MLS side. So I want to see us win this just for the opportunity. Although I can't remember in the draw if we have an opportunity if we win this. I think we do.
I think we do.
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah. So that would be great. But I'm not going to be upset if we lose this game.
What will be interesting is we had the conversation about, do we do the moment of solidarity in the last round? And we said probably not, because we're playing lower league. It doesn't matter. I know that the USL Players Association, we haven't touched on this in a while. We haven't done a show in a while, but there's still no agreement with the USL at large. But the MLS Players Association has been rather vocal about how they support what the USL players are doing. Mm-hmm. So it would be interesting if between the two groups there is a moment of solidarity in the US Open Cup. Whether or not we'll actually see that or not, who knows? Yeah. But it's just something to look out for. I guess just real quick, like yes or no, and then we'll kind of move on to the weekend. Justin, do we get through? Yes or no?
No.
Josh?
No.
Steve?
No.
I'm going to say no as well, but I'm holding out hope. So we will go from that game Wednesday at 7:30 in New Jersey at Red Bull Arena to come back home to play against Detroit. Detroit, recent record looking pretty good. They got 3 wins in their last 5. They got a 3-0 win over Brooklyn. They got a 1-0 win over the Battery, and they also got a 1-0 win over Sporting Jacks. In between each of those, they had a loss to Indy and a draw to Rhode Island. That said, all 3 of those wins for them, those are their only 3 wins of the season, and they were all at home. They have no wins on the road. So that kind of bodes well for us. On Tuesday, they're going to play in the Open Cup against Chicago Fire. So they also have a game midweek, so that kind of balances things out a little bit. One thing that is a bit surprising is that, this early in the season, when you look at the stats leaders across the league, they have the league's leading goal scorer, Darren Smith, who has 5 goals in 5 games, They also have Carlos Herrera, who is their keeper, who is leading the league with 4 clean sheets. So they have the leading goal scorer and they have the most clean sheets in the league. This feels like, the Riverhounds circa 2 or 3 years ago. Not what we typically would expect out of a Detroit team. But again, it's a very small sample size. So I think this is the kind of thing where anytime these two teams butt heads, regardless of how you're doing, what the standings say, none of that matters. You throw it all out the window because it's Detroit and Pittsburgh. So, Steve, what's your expectations of this one?
This is one of those games that I could see being like going either way and not be surprised at all, right? Like this could be a 1-0 win either way. Or this could be a 2-4 thriller, and nothing's going to surprise me in this game. And I think a big part of that is there's a lot of history between these two teams, and there's a lot of chippiness. And so if this game stays tight, there's not going to be a lot of goals. But if something opens this up, if there's a bad foul and a red card, things are going to get wild really fast. And so I guess maybe that's my expectation, that like there's going to be a lot of chippiness on the field, and it's going to be a tense affair one way or the other.
Yeah.
Results be.
We'll get to the results. Josh, how are you feeling about this one? Are you feeling confident in this one?
I don't think I ever feel confident when it comes to Detroit.
You're the wrong person to ask about confidence.
I mean, when it comes to Detroit, especially, you got that bad taste in your mouth from like the playoffs and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I do think this is a game that I want to believe the players know how much it means to the fan bases, and I think they do know. So like, I'm expecting to see a really tough game, and I'm expecting a win from this one. I think we can do it, and I don't know. Top goal scorer right now and top saves, but it's so early. That doesn't mean anything. Like I think it's way too early to really consider anything all that impressive with this team right now.
Justin, your thoughts on Detroit coming to town?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting game, and I think I would just like to see the Hounds put together some attacks that look good and look interesting and look like, even if they don't come away with a ton of goals, like if there's a couple of attacks that look like, oh, that could have been very easily, and like that was a good shot, like, just different things like that. You go, all right, we're moving in the right direction here. But like Steve said, like I would not be surprised with anything in this game. It could be 4-2, it could be 1-0, and either one would be totally expected.
Do you think that we see any kind of changes in formation or lineup from what we saw this evening? I noticed one of the big omissions from the lineup altogether was Charles All. And we know that we know that Guy's hurt.
Didn't Hall go down in the last game? And he was fouled pretty hard, and I mean he continued to play for a while, but I'm wondering if that's just what it was.
I was gonna say I don't recall hearing anything official, so it was just something that I noticed. I was like, oh, okay. So maybe he's back, maybe he's not. But even if All is back, do you think that he plugs right back in, or do you think we roll with kind of the same lineup that we had this evening, Steve?
I think if there are changes to the lineup, it's on the defensive side because somebody's getting healthy and taking a spot back. I think that everything that I've heard from Rob and Adam from preseason to now is that there are only a few players I think that they don't think have the capacity to be the everyday starters. And they really like Goldthorpe. They really like Sam Bassett. You're not dropping Mertz or Griffin. And so then the only other question is, are you putting in Bradley Sample or Jackson Walty in that other midfield spot? All can, when healthy, take one of those spots on a week-to-week basis, but I think at this point he's not a locked-in starter anymore. There's too much competition, and some of those guys are going to be competing for that space. And so maybe Sample over Walty and a defender swapping out, but otherwise I think we'll probably see pretty much the same thing.
Justin, you disagree with that at all?
I don't disagree. I think that's probably what's most likely to happen. I think if I had a bingo card this weekend, like would like to see a square checked off at some point, would be like be an extended run in either of these games for Larson or Amon. And I think the problem that you face is like if you put it on Dequa all the time, then you live and die with Dequa. And so I think, Larson looked fine in 10 minutes tonight, but you're not gonna learn a ton if all he's getting is 10 minutes every game. He'll end up with 350, 400 minutes at the end of the season, but you're not gonna learn a ton from him getting 10 minutes a game. And so I think, I'd like to see some more extended runs. And I don't think it matters whether it's against Red Bull or Detroit on the weekend, but I think you got to figure out, like, you got to give those guys time to also gel with the rest of the team, not just throw them on as desperation moments at the end of the game.
What you're talking about there, Justin, reminds me a lot of like Dequa needs what he had in, what was that, 2022 with Russ Cicerone, who was a guy that could play as a center forward, but was playing a little further out wide. And I think that's kind of the missing piece right now. And then even Eddie Kiza was able to open up some of that space as another player that can do the same things as a center forward, but playing a little bit further out wide. And I don't think we've seen that quite yet. So I think that's a great call right there.
Let's get to score predictions here. Josh, you feel, I was going to say confident. We know you don't feel confident, but like you're feeling good about this one. How do you think it shakes out?
3-1. Hounds.
Whoa, 3-1. Okay. All right. I like the call. Steve?
I'm going to go 2-2.
I hate it. Go ahead.
I know, but like this is a game that I feel like, the history, it's 0-0, 1-1 or 1-0 or 2-2. Like there's no, like, for me, it's like, it's Detroit. Like, it's going to be either there's a few goals and it ends level, or there's very little goals and it ends level, or somebody gets the winning goal and that's it. Maybe it is a blowout and it's fun. I just think, I don't know. I'm going 2-2.
Justin?
Give me a 1-1 draw that we all feel really good about. I think it's going to be like one of those like crazy games where both keepers show up and you're just like, dang, there could have been 7 goals in this game, and it just wasn't.
I'm really torn about this because my prediction up to this point was going to be 0-0, and I wasn't going to feel good about it. Like I think that, considering some of the teams that Detroit have played thus far and the fact that they've been relatively stingy, they've only played 5 games. They've only given up 1 goal. And that 1 goal was to Indy. Like they didn't give up a goal to the Battery, who we know are a really good team. We know that some of these other teams have the ability to score. So that makes me wonder, do we figure all of our issues out and start clicking right away and we can produce more goals than what those teams did? Because we didn't see it tonight. We had the opportunity, we just didn't finish. So my gut says 0-0. Do I see a world in which we put 2 or 3 behind them because we get hot and just find the right combination? Sure. But I'll go ahead and say 0-0 and not feel confident about that. But realistically, I could see that happening.
Like, everything you said makes complete sense, and I'm just stuck on it's a Detroit game, and like everything else doesn't matter between.
You just throw
Detroit
it out the window.
Hounds. Yeah.
Agreed.
We've drawn them 4 times, once in the playoffs. So I don't know if I would count that one because we won in PKs.
I thought it was 6.
No, sorry, 4 times with 0-0.
Oh.
Yeah. And one of those was a playoff. But yeah, we've drawn them total 6 times. So it's, I can understand the whole 0-0. I don't like that at all, though. I think,
But
yeah.
The way this season has gone, if it ends 0-0, hey, you know what? We got a clean sheet finally against a team that has been winning games and beating good teams.
That's quitter talk. We win.
It's progress talk.
It's against Detroit. We have to win.
It's true, but we don't generally tend to win. There have been more ties than wins in games against them historically.
Blah blah blah.
Like both ways, right? Like the total number of ties are more than all the other results combined.
That is what we think. Let us know what you think. Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys being willing to jump on after sort of the game and the performance that was wrapped up barely an hour ago. I know that these types of episodes, while fun, can also be a little bit nerve-wracking because it's like we don't really have time to digest it and put together thoughts, but at the same time, they could be fun just because it's more gut than it is anything else. So do appreciate it. Any additional final thoughts? Josh, from your cat that just jumped up in the screen.
I got nothing.
She's like, you're done. It's over.
Like,
Shut it
we're
down.
done. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. We do appreciate you joining us live or listening and watching, however it is that you consume this. As I mentioned, do feel free to leave comments. We do read them all. You can also email us at mongols3@gmail.com. Again, we kind of read everything. We do kind of make decisions based on what you guys kind of share. So we do love the feedback. Otherwise, 2 chances to watch the Hounds this week: Wednesday against the Red Bulls and Saturday against Detroit. Hopefully they are 2 W's, and we're coming back here next Sunday and talking about how great everything is and how we've turned the tides, and it's going to be amazing. So hopefully that is what we see. Otherwise, thanks, everybody. We'll be back with more Hounds content for you very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.